Imagine being stranded on Mars, millions of miles away from Earth. No oxygen, no food, no help coming. You're completely alone on a dead planet, and everyone back home thinks you're already dead. But you refuse to give up. You fight to survive using nothing but your brain, courage, and a few potatoes. This isn't a superhero story. It's the story of one man's determination to stay alive on the red planet. This is The Martian 2015, and today, we're breaking it down scene by scene. So grab your space helmet, because this is going to be one intense ride. Hey everyone, welcome back to Real Movie Breakdown, the channel where we dive deep into your favorite movies and uncover the stories that will blow your mind. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell, because we've got more epic survival stories coming your way every week. Alright, let's jump straight into The Martian, one of the most powerful survival movies ever made, based on Andy Weir's best-selling novel and directed by Ridley Scott. The movie opens on Mars, a desolate red wasteland. A NASA mission called Ares 3 is currently in progress. A team of 6 astronauts exploring the planet's surface. Commander Melissa Lewis, along with her crew Mark Watney, Rick Martinez, Beth Johansson, Chris Beck, and Alex Vogel, are busy collecting samples and studying the Martian environment. But suddenly, disaster strikes. A massive dust storm, stronger than anything they've seen, slams into them. The wind speed is dangerously high, and NASA orders an emergency evacuation. As the crew scrambles toward their spacecraft, a piece of debris hits Mark Watney. The impact throws him off balance and his suit telemetry goes flat, showing no life signs. Commander Lewis makes a heartbreaking decision. Believing Watney is dead, she orders the crew to abort the mission and return to Earth. They take off, leaving the planet behind. But Mark Watney isn't dead. When Mark regains consciousness, everything is silent. His helmet is cracked, and a metal rod has pierced his suit. Oxygen is leaking. With trembling hands, he seals the hole and struggles back to the habitat, the Hab, a small base built for survival. He patches himself up and realizes the terrifying truth. He's completely alone on Mars. Watney checks the communication system, destroyed. The crew has left. NASA thinks he's dead, and the next mission, Ares IV, won't arrive for years. For years, on a planet where nothing grows, with food for only a month. But Mark Watney isn't the kind of man who gives up. Mark decides to science the hell out of this. He's a botanist, and if anyone can make life on Mars possible, it's him. He calculates his supplies, his water, and his oxygen. Then he comes up with a crazy plan. He's going to grow food on Mars. He collects leftover potatoes from the crew's Thanksgiving meals, cuts them into pieces, and plants them in the Martian soil. But there's a problem. Mars has no organic matter, and nothing grows there. So he creates his own fertilizer using, yes, his own waste. He mixes it with soil, adds water, and slowly begins to create the first farm on Mars. To make water, he burns leftover hydrazine fuel, an extremely risky process. One wrong move could blow him up, but it works. Drop by drop, he creates enough water to hydrate his plants. Soon, green sprouts begin to grow. For the first time, Mars is no longer lifeless. Meanwhile, at NASA headquarters on Earth, everyone believes Mark Watney died during the storm. But a young satellite analyst, Mindy Park, notices something strange. Images from Mars show objects moving, equipment being moved around the Hab. She reports it to her boss, and NASA realizes the shocking truth. Mark Watney is alive. Director Teddy Sanders immediately calls a press conference. The world is stunned. Mark Watney, the man left behind on Mars, is alive. NASA begins to search for a way to communicate with him. Watney, on Mars, figures out he needs to contact Earth. He hikes across the planet in a rover, covering hundreds of kilometers until he finds the Pathfinder probe, an old spacecraft from the 1990s. Using its systems, he establishes communication with NASA through text messages. When he finally sees the first reply from Earth, Mark, "This is NASA. How are you receiving this message?" He breaks into tears. He's not alone anymore. NASA engineers and scientists work day and night, guiding Watney on how to survive. They track his progress, cheer for his potatoes, and share hope with the world. But they also face a heartbreaking reality: every resource, Every calorie, every drop of oxygen is running out. Then tragedy strikes again. The airlock on Watney's hab suddenly explodes, destroying most of his crops. His food supply drops to almost zero. Despite the loss, Mark refuses to quit. He calculates that he can survive by rationing food and using the rover to reach the Ares 4 launch site, thousands of kilometers away. At NASA, scientists including Venkat Kapoor, Mitch Henderson, and Annie Montrose debate a plan to bring him home. China offers to help with a booster rocket, showing global unity to save one man. Meanwhile, the Ares 3 crew, who are still traveling back to Earth, learn that Mark is alive. They make a brave decision. They'll go back to Mars to rescue him, even if it means risking their own lives. Mark modifies the rover, covering it with solar panels, extra batteries, and a homemade heating system. He begins his long, silent journey across the Martian desert, a trip that will take weeks. He records video logs every day, joking about disco music and duct tape. Even in the face of death, he keeps his humor alive. Finally, he reaches the Ares 4 launch site, a small rocket already placed for the next mission. He strips it down, making it as light as possible for launch. Everything is ready, except one thing: he has to survive one last time. The Ares 3 crew prepares for the most dangerous maneuver of their lives, a slingshot around Earth to return to Mars faster. Commander Lewis leads her team with determination. The moment arrives. Watney launches himself into orbit, floating alone in space, hoping his crew will find him. But the ship misses him by a few hundred meters. Commander Lewis makes the bold decision. She goes out herself to grab him. Tethered by a rope, she floats into the void, reaching for Watney's hand. In a breathtaking slow-motion scene, she finally catches him. The crew cheers, and after hundreds of days alone on Mars, Mark Watney is finally coming home. After the rescue, Mark becomes a symbol of human endurance. We see him teaching new astronauts on Earth, sharing his story not as a hero, but as a survivor. He says, "At some point, everything's going to go south on you. And you're going to say, this is it, this is how I end. You can either accept that, or you can get to work. You solve one problem, then the next. And if you solve enough problems, you get to go home." Those words define The Martian, a story about never giving up, even when you're alone on another planet. The Martian reminds us that intelligence, teamwork, and hope can beat impossible odds. It's not just science fiction, it's a tribute to human resilience. And that's it for today's breakdown of The Martian 2015. If you enjoyed this video and want more incredible survival stories like this, make sure to subscribe to Real Movie Breakdown. Hit that like button and drop a comment below. Until next time, stay curious, stay brave, and I'll see you in the next breakdown.